The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Hello and welcome to Fearless Fabulous You. I am your host, Melanie Young, and it is a beautiful June summer day here in the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, where I live. Like many of you, I am planning for a big summer trip. I hope you are too. I got to tell you, I travel a lot for work. I am blessed through my company and show, The Connected Table, to go to a lot of wine regions. So sometimes my husband, David, and I travel maybe like 6 times a year to Europe for wine trips, and we love it. I mean, I grew up with travel in my blood. In fact, before I get into the show, so the show today, we're going to talk about some travel hacks that I have learned and tips based on my road warrior life, which has been fairly considerable. And I want to hear from you because I'm always learning about other ways people travel easier, more affordably, but also in the style they want. Why did I fall in love with travel? Somebody once said, I was with a group of wine writers back in February in Tuscany, and we went around the room. It was late at night, several glasses of wine, and we said, what is your passion? And a couple of the wine writers said, my passion is wine. And I said, I thought about it, and I said, my passion isn't wine. I love wine. I'm tied to my dad, my husband, and my life about wine professionally, but my passion is travel. And this is how my passion for travel started. When I was a little girl, about age 3 or 4, my parents left me with my grandmother and went around the world on a dream vacation. In fact, when my mother died, I found her diaries about this trip. They went all the way around the world because they wanted to do it before I got into private school and college and, had to take care of me. So they left me with my grandmother and they went around the world. And from every country and major city they visited, they sent me a postcard. Remember postcards? I love postcards. They had sent me a handwritten postcard and a doll from every country. So I would get these dolls in the mail while they were traveling, postcards. And I was like, I want to travel the world. I want to do that one day. I kept those dolls for a really long time. I have 5 left. I sold many at the estate sale, but that punctuated my desire to travel. And when I was, I think, 15, my parents and grandmother sponsored my first overseas trip. My grandmother wanted me to find religion, so she sent me to Israel, hopefully to find religion in a future husband. Neither worked, but I certainly enjoyed going to Israel, and I really loved going to Italy afterward and Switzerland. But I just fell in love with travel, and it became such an important part of my life. And I'm so blessed to have entered into a profession where wine and food and travel are at the cross section, because I think it's really part of my higher education. And if you are young and just starting out, or if you have children who are just going out on their own, encourage them to travel. You're never too old or too young to travel. You always can find a way. And that leads me to this. I'm not rich by any means. Like many, I'm on Social Security now. This show, as much as you think I may make lots of money, I don't. I'll do it out of love and because I get to travel thanks to this show and my other one, The Connected Table. I love to travel and I make it a priority. I like to travel versus buying things. I used to buy a lot of things. Now I just want to travel. I like to travel comfortably, however. I don't like to travel, I like to be frugal, but I like to be comfortable. So like many of you, you're probably wanting to take a big trip. And if you haven't planned it this summer, but there's still deals because I'm getting them all the time sent to me. I'm going to share with you some travel hacks, not only for planning a trip and essentials you need to think about, but also ways to pack reasonably and wisely. And my husband will tell you all the time, Melanie, you pack too much, but I pack just enough and I do just fine. So I do it on my terms, not his, which is 2 shoes, a couple of shirts, and 3 pairs of pants. I pack the way I want. But first, I'm going to start with some travel hacks for planning a trip, because Even though a lot of our hosted trips are arranged for us, I have to step in and say, we want to fly a certain airline, we want to sit a certain place. You've got to kind of take over. So when I started planning our trip that we're doing to go to Greece, summer 2026, I had to do it all on my own. So I did a lot of research. The first thing is, if you are booking flights, I truly believe in loyalty. Pick one or two airlines and become a loyal customer. Get their travel card, the credit card, join their frequent flyer program, earn mileage. I'm proud to say that this beginning of this year, or actually the end of last year, 2025, I became a Delta Airlines Million Miler. I've been a Delta Airlines customer since 1982. I also became a Million Miler on American. It took a lot of work. I was working and traveling, and when that Million Miler ticket and letter came from Delta with my special luggage tags that said Million Miler, I was so proud. But it gets you priority status. What does that mean? You can have more access to upgrades. You can have a special phone line to help you plan your trip. It's really worth it. The other thing is, so when people say we want to arrange trips for you, I'll say, well, here's the only airlines we fly, because we're very loyal. So I'm loyal to Delta and American. Those are my airlines and their affiliates. And it has helped many times during flight delays and flight changes. Trust me. Loyalty has an advantage. When you're booking flights, I know we're all on budgets, but think about where you're going and the difference between a refundable ticket and a non-refundable ticket. Here's why. Well, first of all, rates, this is interesting. Rates fluctuate. So I book all my airline travel late at night, or at least after 6, because that's usually when I'm available. But I have also learned that prices tend to be more expensive in the morning when business travel is booked. So try to book your flights at off hours, like midweek, late at night, or Sunday, late at night, and, opt for the callback. I do like to talk to a reservationist. Why? Because when I tell them I'm a frequent flyer or a Million Miler, I usually get better treatment. And one time only, we actually were given the choice of a seat in 1A or 36A. Well, 1A is first class, 36A is coach. And we said, we'll take the 1A. So sometimes they'll help you along and get you a better seat. It's always nice to be very pleasant to the reservationist when you speak to them. Be polite, say how much you love the airline. They'll do a lot for you. But if you prefer to book online, do your research, go to kayak.com, go to some of the other sites, go to your credit card site if it's tied to an airline, but then book directly with the airline directly. I always do. I tend to book refundable tickets. It's a bit more, but here's why. If I'm going overseas, particularly, or somewhere, and I'm booking very far out, and technically, if you're booking international tickets, you want to book 2 to 6 months in advance for the best rates. And if you're traveling domestically in the United States, you want to book 1 to 3 months. Okay. However, flight prices change. There may be a fare sale. There may be changes in whatever. I'll give you an example. We were invited to a wedding in Greece. We were told to make the reservations to hotels in this tiny island, Hydra, off the coast of Athens, because there's very few hotels to book early. I went ahead and booked flights in that 6-month advance time on Delta. I opted for refundable tickets. They were about $200 per person more. Why did I do that? Because I wanted the option to cancel or change and get 100% of my money back. I didn't want a credit. It was so far out, life can change. I didn't want to deal with credits. And it turns out that about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, I called Delta and I said, I noticed in my wallet, do just check and make sure that you don't have any credits in your wallet, whatever airline. I noticed I had a credit that I wasn't even aware of in my online wallet for $100. So it was expiring. It was, I think, June 3rd, and the credit was expiring June 6th. So I called Delta, made the personal call. And I said, I noticed I have a credit and it's expiring. It's for $100. I really want to use it. What would be the cost to rebook the tickets in similar dates and class fare, basically main cabin? I fly main cabin, nothing fancy. And it turned out that the price had gone down, and I ended up saving $400 for the 2 tickets for David and me. So It's worth checking back on a regular basis to see if the flights you booked have gone down or if there's comparable flights that would work better for less on the same day or a day or two, or if you're flexible, a day earlier, a day later in the same class. I always book main cabin. I never book basic economy because I want options for selecting my seat, selecting my meal, and options for free upgrades. I love free upgrades. We rarely fly business or first. I save up all my frequent flyer points for that. But right now I'm saving for a big trip to Asia. So that's a little hack I learned. Another one is most airlines offer senior fares if you're 65 or older. Now, if you go to kayak.com, because I always go to kayak.com to do a general research to see what flights are and get comparable rates, because sometimes you can negotiate fares. If you say, well, I was on kayak.com and I saw a fare for X, what can you do similar? Right. If you're on the phone with somebody, they'll help you find a similar fare. Kayak has a check mark where you can say you're a senior, 65 and older, and you can get a senior discount rate. So it pays to ask the airlines if they have rates for seniors, because they may. Another way to do it is to get an airline credit card like the Citibank Advantage for American Airlines. I have that, and I have Capital One Delta. And no, I have Capital One, excuse me, and I get travel rewards no matter what. The Venture One card, lots of travel rewards and booking travel and perks. My husband has the Delta American Express Platinum. We use those regularly and we take advantage of all the opportunities. For example, he just booked a buy one, get one free ticket for us to go to New York. Once we did it to Hawaii. You just got to watch all those expiration dates so you don't lose out on the opportunity. So there's many ways to save. You got to stay on top of it or hire a travel agent. But I do it myself and I negotiate and I monitor my seats because I also sign up for flight alerts. Why? Because if a flight is delayed, you want to know. If a flight changes carrier or airline, which happens a lot with international flights, that means you will get a new carrier and a new seating assignment. I'm very particular about where I sit on a plane. I like an aisle seat, preferably bulkhead or exit row. I don't have to sit with David. David and we're together all the time. We want our own damn seats. So we really look hard at our seats. So you have to check and even check 48 hours before your flight. Make sure you have the seats you want. And you can also order, if it's overseas, you can order special meals. I think it's called Delta, I think it's called services or priorities or special requests, but you can also request meals. You have to do that in advance. But if you were, picky about meals, like I don't want high sodium right now. I have high blood pressure. I pick a low sodium, low cholesterol, low fat, low taste meal, but at least I'm not going to have all the high sodium. David picked halal because he's trying different meals. He's done kosher, he's done halal, he's trying them all. So those are some ways to get better prices and better seats. I'm a big believer in signing up for AAA. Airline cards tied to credit cards tied to airlines. Big know what each offers because a MasterCard Visa, a Capital One Venture One MasterCard and a Capital One Venture Visa, same Capital One, different companies, Visa, MasterCard, different perks. So get to know those and read those little flyers they send you. Why does it matter? I'll tell you why. Because when you're renting a car, rates go all over the place. Right now, I'm trying to book a car in New York. It's super expensive. So what am I going to do? I'm checking my Capital One Visa and Capital One MasterCard. I'm trying to see which one may offer car rental insurance to bring my costs down. I'm also a member of Costco. Costco has a great travel club. So I'm going to check Costco for rates. In fact, if you're a member of Costco, there's some great travel deals there and also good affordable gas for your car. I am going to check my airlines because I have status with my airlines. I'm going to shop around to see what I can get and check back because car rental rates also fluctuate. I have gone from renting a car in Maui that was $600 to $700 for 10 days down to $400 because I checked back with the car rental company. That's a big difference. Check the local car rental companies check the national ones. Do read the reviews. I mean, because some of the local companies are great and some not so. I read reviews, but prices fluctuate. It also depends on the day of the week you're traveling. If you're traveling on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or even a Saturday, rates may be lower. Sundays are high load days. Fridays are high load days for car rentals and for airlines. I don't travel as much by train, but I can probably assess that all these negotiating points are equally important if you're traveling by train. Senior rate, membership discounts, credit card discounts, the day of the week, and the time of the day all matter. And then always buy the class of service you can afford, but do better. Don't just settle for basic. With basic, you're going to pay for everything. Upgrade to at least main cabin, or for like train, maybe business. If it's not a big difference in price, it is a big difference in service. So I think that's really, really important. With car rental, contact your auto insurance company to see if car rental insurance is covered and for how much. And what happens if you have to claim it? How will it ding your insurance? Because in Louisiana, auto insurance are so expensive that I actually choose to buy separate car rental coverage when I rent cars. That said, let's talk about trip insurance, because trip insurance is super, super important, particularly the older you get. Because if you're on Medicare, get this, Medicare does not cover medical expenses abroad. Let me repeat that. Medicare does not cover medical expenses abroad. And if you're not on Medicare, you should check with your health insurance to see if you were covered when traveling overseas, because that is a very big issue if you get sick or into an accident or have to be evacuated. It is worth it to shop around for travel insurance. Don't just check the mark when you buy your airplane ticket. Shop around, because you can get blanket insurance that will cover travel, trip interruption, medical evacuation, which is super expensive. So make sure you have it. Emergency service, trip interruption, car rental, damages, collision insurance, you name it. Create a checklist. What can be covered in your travel insurance? Because it may be worth paying more to get more comprehensive coverage, and at the gold level, if there's a bronze, silver, gold, it may be worth it to pay more than buying, car rental insurance, airline insurance, and trip insurance. It's really important. There's also an option called CFA, or cancel for any reason. So this is important because there's always the fine line that says your trip will be covered for this and this, but not this. For example, pre-existing conditions. If you have a medical condition and they find out, you may not, and something happens overseas, you may not be covered. If you lose your job, if someone dies, if you got to rush back to the United States for an emergency, if you need to change for whatever reason, your kids are sick, whatever, cancel for any reason. The much more expensive CYA covers your ass. So you really want insurance to CYA cover your ass. So think about what that means. Will it cover your trip back to the United States if you got to come back quickly because somebody died? Will it cover you if you die overseas and need to have your body shipped back? Will it cover you if you have emergency services or have to be hospitalized? I have never, knock wood, had to use trip insurance, but I know the one time I did not get trip insurance and I had to cancel the trip because David had to be hospitalized. It cost me a pretty penny because while some of the parts of the trip were refundable, because I do tend to buy refundable reservations for hotels and airlines just for this reason, other parts were not. And it was Greece, and it was very difficult to try to negotiate with people to get my money back, and I lost money. For this Greek trip, the first thing I did is, once I bought my airplane tickets and made my first refundable but very expensive reservation for a hotel in Idra, the Orlov, and then started looking into refundable but still got to pay for them reservations in Athens, etc., I got my trip insurance within 2 weeks. I got it through AARP. They have ARDY, AARDY. It was very reasonable. I didn't do it online. I spoke to an agent. I like speaking to agents on the phone. They answer questions. I don't like talking to bots. Bingo. I just don't like talking to bots. I like humans. I'm old school and prefer it that way, and I get better service. Allianz, I've used quite a bit. There's some very good ones. It's worth shopping online and doing comparative rates. But at the end of the day, when you're getting ready to buy your insurance, talk to somebody because they can probably help you get a more comprehensive, better priced insurance for you and your loved ones traveling with you because you want everybody covered. That's super expensive. Hotels. Okay. I use booking.com a lot. I use hotels.com a lot. I like the perks you get with it. You get discounts. If you like I'm on the Genius 2 level on booking.com, they send you discounts on cars and they send you discounts on tours. I like it. I like that one stop. I can go to the site and see all my reservations. I can see all my cancellations. I usually opt for, unless I'm 150% sure that I am going and not changing my mind about days or hotels or whatever, I usually book refundable. It's a little bit more, but then I can make changes. And I made a lot of changes on my trip to Greece. I changed hotels, I changed dates, I changed everything. So you have to decide how comfortable you are with non-refundable versus refundable, and also look to see if things you like are included, like air conditioning. If you have a disability, are there rooms that are on the ground floor? If you can't walk, for example, are the elevators go up to the high levels? If you want a high level 4, that's great, but are there elevators to the high level 4? David and I were in San Gimignano and the elevator stopped and then there were steps the rest of the way. How do you get to the hotel? Is there a car? Can you park on site? In Idra, there's no cars, the island of Idra, and I'll be doing a show on this. So everything is horse and buggy or mule. Well, that's a big deal to make sure you've ordered your horse or buggy or mule. We order the horse and buggy. Mules are actually more expensive, but we're getting a horse and buggy to take our luggage from the port to the hotel because it's cobblestones and we're not walking. You got to think about comfort. What is your comfort? I don't believe hotels are a place to crash and go to sleep and keep sightseeing. When it's raining, it's hot, it's going to be 100 degrees where we're going. I want a place where I can relax, work, chill. I don't have to feel like I have to race out all the time. So I always opt for hotels, usually if it's a shorter stay. Like a shorter stay to me is under 5 days. Why? I like 24-hour hotel lobby service. I want to be able to pick up the phone at any time if the air conditioning breaks. I want to say if the air conditioning's broken, the doorknob fell off. That happened once in Italy. I want service. So I love hotels. I love space. I always very carefully look at how large the room is. I convert meters to feet. I want a certain size room. I want to make sure that there's a shower or bath that you don't have to climb into and over to risk falling. Dave and I are at the age where we don't want to fall. I actually don't like carpet on the floor. I'm allergic. So I have to look and see if there's floor. That's right. That for me is a big deal. There's certain non-negotiable things. We want a matrimonial bed. In Europe, you have to ask for the matrimonial bed, which means a big bed, queen or king. Otherwise, a double means you get 2 beds. Dave and I have been to rooms where we asked for doubles and people gave us doubles thinking we were either together and not married or just wanted a double room. And we're like, no, we want a matrimonial room. So find out what the size bed is. Ask questions. These are things that are important. If you don't like sound, get a sound, make sure it's a soundproof room off the street. The view may be pretty, but it may be loud. Read reviews. I do this. I must have changed so many hotels going to Greece just for that one reason. See if they offer shuttles to and from the airport, complimentary or discount, or are they close to a train station so you can take an inexpensive train from the airport to the station and walk just a few blocks to the hotel. When it's 100 degrees in Europe, you don't want to walk too far, or when it's snowing. So these are all things I look at when I book hotels. Now, the cheapest way to book a hotel is directly to the hotel and join their loyalty club. And I do that whenever I can because they often say to you, I love it when you book on like booking.com or hotels, and you go to the hotel. This happened in Florence recently. Great hotel, Moon Palace, by the way. It was our first stay. I should have asked the spa hours because I was given a complimentary spa visit, and then it turned out it was only between 5 and 7, and we were having aperitives and drinks, so we missed that great opportunity. So understand when hours are open as well. So they said to me as I was checking out, and I'd already prepaid through booking.com, they said, next time book directly with us and we'll give you a better rate. I'm like, thanks. So it is worth doing the work. Unless you don't have time, then work with a travel agent. But it's worth doing the work to see if it's better to book directly for savings and a better room upgrade, because there's also savings and there's room upgrade. If you like a corner room with lots of windows, it may be easier to get it if you talk to the hotel directly and get to know the reservationist. If it doesn't matter, then go through hotels, Expedia, Travelocity, Booking.com, whatever, and book it that way. But know what you're getting into and check back and see if any upgrades are available. Sometimes complimentary upgrades are available. You just have to ask. Make sure you know if breakfast is included or not. Now, if you're staying somewhere longer, a B&B is awesome, or an apart hotel. And Booking.com, I know, has plenty on site. I've stayed at a few. The advantages is you get the kitchenette, and I love having the kitchenette. You get a lot of space. You get a sitting area. It feels like an apartment. The disadvantage is that often some of these are not manned or staffed 24 hours. So we were in one city, Rome, and the hotel was an annex. It was an apartment hotel that was an annex to a hotel. It was down the street, a bit of a schlep. We're dragging our bags. We get there. We had to get a special code, and we get up there, and the air conditioning didn't work. And it was just a basic white apartment, no charm. And in hindsight, I wish I had just stayed at the hotel, but it was only for one night, and it was the cheapest rate we got, so I opted for it for one night. But when we were in Lisbon for 10 days, I booked through Booking.com. I booked a wonderful apartment hotel. It did have staffing in the lobby, almost 24 hours, and an on-site restaurant for breakfast. Had a great experience, wonderful hotel, but it was an apartment, really. So it really depends on what you're looking for and what your needs are. Particularly if you're traveling with a family, you definitely want an apartment or a house. So you can rent a house. I like VRBO, Vacation Resort by Owner. I have done that several times. Great. Airbnb, I've done less, but I have, and you can find wonderful things. The thing to look for there is really look closely at the room sizes, the location. Is there on-site parking? Is there a covered garage? On-site parking versus street parking. You don't want to put your rental car on the street anywhere. You want private parking. Bingo. No street parking. You're just open to break-ins. You want to make sure that all the rooms have bathrooms. You want to look at, as like I said, I can't stand carpet. So I look at to make sure there's no carpet anywhere. These are factors, and ask questions. You are, as the potential customer, you have every right to ask a million questions because you want your stay to be comfortable. And like I said, there are people who travel and just want a room to crash and get out. I'm not that person. So, one time Dave and I stayed in a castle. We were given a free room. Be careful what you wish for. The free room sounded really awesome, but we were in the turret. Okay, we were in the turret of the castle, which involved an elevator and then steps. And David could barely stand up because the ceilings were so low. So a publicist has recently offered us 3 nights in Athens free at a hotel. But when I went on the, it looked like a cool, modern, stylish, hipster hotel. But then when I saw the reviews, I kept seeing the word noisy. They give you earplugs at night. Well, I don't really want to spend 3 nights anywhere wearing earplugs. So we're going to go there our last night or one night because I do want to see it. It sounds awesome. But maybe, think about the length of your stay and the comfort you need, because the longer you stay, the more comfort and amenities you will want. Trust me. And location is key. Think about, is it near public transportation? Is it near the sites you want to see? Is it in a quiet street? Is it safe? Read the comments. I pore over comments and editorial, not just comments, to make sure I know what the location is, what the amenities are. Is there a refrigerator or kitchenette? How clean is it? Cleanliness is key. Another way to travel, and David and I have done it when we were living on the road after we sold a house, is house sitting. So we signed up. Our dog, Sazerac, passed away, and we couldn't get another dog. So I signed up for a service called Trusted House Sitters. I think I'm affiliate that, so I can say that. So Trusted House Sitters is a great way to connect with homeowners around the world trustedhousesitters.com, and stay for free in their homes while you care for their beloved animals. It's a win-win because I've had to pay house sitters for my dogs. The house owner has someone caring for the home and the pets. You, the traveler, has a free place to stay. And if you love animals, it's a great way to hang out with animals, to get exercise. You're walking dogs, you're playing with cats. It's wonderful. And it's around the world. The thing is, you got to do your homework there as well. First of all, you need a lot of references because the homeowners are very cautious. They want to make sure you're going to be reliable, that you're not using their home just to dump your stuff and leave all day, whether dogs and cats and fish or whatever are starving and not getting walked. It's a commitment. You're committing first to taking care of an animal and second to having a good time going out. So you need to decide if that's worth it for you or not. For long-term stays, it could be very worth it. For short-term, I don't think so. You also need to ask about where you'll be sleeping, because Dave and I slept in many guest rooms and also many main master bedrooms. The master bedrooms were always much nicer than the guest rooms, which are always really small and hot and crowded. You have to ask what the care for the animals are. Our first house sit, we had 5 animals. We never did that again. Of all the 5 animals, all 5 had special needs and different eating regimens and walking regimens and pills. We learned from that experience. Great house, by the way, but never again. We are no longer on Trusted House Sitters because we decided that, we didn't need the service as much. But if I ever needed to travel again extensively, and I was willing to pet sit again, I would definitely recommend Trusted House Sitters. It's just, I'm in a different place in my head right now. I just want a hotel. That's just me right now, but it's great. And what was cool is with one of the house sits we did, they were all in the United States. The car was included. Yeah, they gave us a car. So it's really great, but check and ask questions and also make sure you are prepared to take care of the pets, because some of the pets we took care of didn't have great health. And one of them had to go to the hospital while the owners were away. And it was just very stressful, which is probably why we're not pet sitting right now, because we ended up nursing a dog that we weren't sure was going to live. And it was very stressful. So that's why we don't do it anymore, but it is a great option. Okay, I talked about trip insurance. I talked about booking flights. I talked about car rentals. Phone. So we did a lot of shopping around because we go overseas a lot, and we do not like paying roaming charges. So and I'm not paid. David, my husband, did all the research. We are on T-Mobile because we can get free data roaming. Okay, free data roaming for us is important. So we're on T-Mobile. We still can't use our phone for long distance, but we always sign up for WhatsApp, but we can use data and texting. So when we're overseas, we tell people this is our WhatsApp. It's free. And we text, but we do not answer phone calls. We'll just simply say, we're out, please use WhatsApp, or we'll call you when we get back. If you're not comfortable with that because you have children and you've got office and whatnot, look into either a local or international SIM card. You can purchase a local SIM card in the country you're visiting. The limitations are it's usually just for the country you're visiting for a certain amount of time. It's less expensive, but if you're traveling all over, go for the international SIM card. It's worth the money. But do research different phone services and base it on where you're traveling and how frequently, because for us as frequent international travelers, the T-Mobile has been great and WhatsApp has been great. And then we, use our computers and laptops. And just for that reason, we also get very high powered portable chargers for our phones, mobile portable chargers, very high powered, and for our computers. So we're never losing juice. We also do your research to find out what the adapters are for plugs so you have the right ones. For example, Great Britain has a different plug than Europe. Greece apparently has the same plug as Europe, but we haven't been to other countries, but always check because you don't want to go overseas and find out you don't have the right plug. We also when we go to a country, we'll go to like the local hardware store or supermarket or what we call a dime store, a store. And maybe they sell cheap luggage, but we'll go and we'll buy a surge protector with the adapters and the electrical power, because the wattage is different also from the US and Europe. And we'll buy that. So we always travel with surge protectors wherever we go because we have a lot of things to plug in. And there's never enough plugs in the hotels we stay in. So we each have our own surge protector so we don't have to fight over plugs. It's worth the investment. I put mine in my carry-on, or you can put it in your suitcase. But it's well worth it. But know the different needs, electrical needs wherever you go. The other thing is for safety, get air tags or GPS trackers. We didn't have them, and now we do. Why? Because David and I were on a train in Milan at the station waiting to leave, and we put our luggage in the racks by the door, and someone basically picked up David's and took off. So they literally removed David's suitcase and was ready to take off with it. David, fortunately, was not looking at his phone. Lesson 1, do not sit anywhere on a train or a plane and stare at your phone if there are open doors, because you can get robbed. So David, fortunately, was not looking at his phone, and he chased the guy, got the suitcase back because the robber dropped the bag. But the first thing he did when we got home is we got air tags, and we have them in all our bags. It is tied to your phone, so it GPSs, it can, basically location target where your bags are to make sure that you can find them in real time. iTag Pro apparently is the most popular. David handled this. You can go on Amazon and see different ones. Get the best one you can afford and have it in your handbag, your carry-on bag, and your suitcase. And even consider getting a lock to lock your suitcase to the luggage rack so nobody can pull it off. And the theft thing is getting worse now. Okay, it's getting worse. So I stopped traveling with large handbags. Also, I travel with a crossbody bag or a cheap ass ugly black fanny pack that I put fun little stickers on or pins or some of the old vintage jewelry that I inherited. Nothing fancy, but I'd rather have that than a designer bag that just says rob me. And I keep it small. I literally travel passport, a small file for a billfold for credit cards and essentials like my Medicare. A little bit, I do carry cash because you do get cash discounts some places, and some places still don't accept credit cards. And I always ask for cash discounts, and a hairbrush and lipstick and a little bit of sunscreen. I don't carry much. It's in a fanny pack. It's not glamorous. I wear it crossbody around. I don't care about being glamorous anymore. I care about being safe and comfortable. And my back can't handle heavy bags anymore. So I travel light. Another thing I highly recommend is a home security system. Install before you go. We did this when my mother was ill. We installed cameras all over the house so that when we were traveling, we could check in. We did this here in New Orleans as well. So if you were traveling and you just want to make sure everything's okay, or you suddenly realize a hurricane's about to hit, you can check to make sure the house is okay inside and out. We check our cameras regularly. The other thing is invest in a safety deposit box and have a safe room in your house that cannot be easily found by thieves or hurricanes and floods. We have that, and we lock everything valuable in the safety deposit boxes we have to, and in the safe closet before we leave. That's sterling silver. That's our financial papers and wills. We actually have a to-go bag ready in case we have to an evacuation bag just with those important papers. But if we ever do have to flee quickly or check, it's all in one area. We also have the safes combination written down in 2 places because I can never remember it. We know where the keys are. We have duplicates hidden, but it's worth having all your valuables locked away. Just take costume jewelry. Don't take your valuables with you. If you do take your valuables, make sure you have jewelry insurance. I recommend Jewelers Mutual. I have it. It's expensive because I have a lot of jewelry. I really only insure the most expensive things now. I still don't travel with them. It's just not worth it. There's just a lot of theft right now going on. I actually once had my sunglasses taken off my face. And guess what? I don't travel with expensive designer sunglasses either. I bought these at Goodwill for $6.99. I don't wear anything that I don't want robbed. I do wear my grandmother's diamond all the time, but I travel with scarves. It protects my neck from sun. It protects me from jewelry. On my wrist, I may be wearing bracelets that I never take off. That's the wrist I wear a bandana or a small cloth scarf. Why? It hides the jewelry, and I can wipe my brow when I get hot, and it's going to be hot where we're going. So that's a tip. Bandanas and scarves not only can protect you from the sun, keep your shoulders covered if you're going into churches, which is important, or your head. If it's breezy, it can also, be nice for, like we're going to a wedding, so we're going to be covered. Our shoulders will be covered in the church, and if it gets breezy, I'll be okay. And also can protect you from robbery, so people don't see your jewelry. So I travel with lots of long scarves and short scarves. I also can tie them around my neck. I use them in many ways, also sarongs. for skirts, sarongs for beach cover-ups, sarongs to sleep in, sarongs as shawls. I do all that. And it's there, I'm a big believer in multi-purpose clothing. So multi-purpose clothing, keep solids, go for solids, and wear a lot of scarves. Wear long dresses or over the knee, because if you go to churches, you need that. You don't want your legs in the sun. You can dress them up easier, dress them down, skip the shorts unless you're going hiking. Wear very comfortable shoes. I already got, my girlfriend called, said, be careful with the shoes. You're going to fall. Get espadrilles. You know what I buy? Keds. I'm not paid. I love Keds. I love Keds sneakers. I love Keds sparkle shoes. I just bought more Keds because they have sales all the time. Slip-ons versus tie, because I noticed I was tripping over the shoelaces. I buy a lot of Keds. I make sure I wear very comfortable rubber-soled or lug-soled shoes. I want to not fall. I also want to be comfortable. I wear comfortable socks. So that's really important. I didn't talk about suitcases, and I don't have a lot of time, but I always travel with a Vanguard valise. I love Vanguard valise. I, at one point, was trying to sell Vanguard valise. It is a wine suitcase. It is a suitcase that is designed to carry wine. So there's the Grand, which is 12 bottles. There's the middle size one, which is 8, and then the Piccolo, the Petite, which is 8, and the Piccolo, which is 5. But I use my Vanguard valise to carry my clothes, and sometimes we travel with an extra one for wine when we come back. Why? Because they are such great, well-made bags. They're rollers, they're sturdy, they're just great bags. And when they crack, and mine have, because I might get thrown around a lot, I get them replaced. They have a great warranty program. I've already gone through 3 Vanguard valises over the many years I've had them. Vanguard valise. I am an affiliate there. Love those bags for carrying my clothes and also my wines. And do that quite a bit. I swear by them. I've actually given them as gifts to people. More on clothes. I've talked about scarves. They are the best for protecting you against robberies, sun, wind, cold, going into churches. Just get lots of them. I tend to not do silk. This is cotton. Why? Because silk gets really hot. You don't want something slippery. Where comfort is key. Sturdy shoes with great grips. Like I said, I'm big on Keds. I'm big on flip-flops always. I always have a set of flip-flops as well, because you never know when you are, or what I call shore shoes. Reef shoes, because if I want to go in the water, actually reef shoes are better than flip-flops, because if you want to put them on, they're not going to float off your feet. And if you're going into a beach or a shelly area or area with coral and rocks, you want to protect your feet. So I'm very big on inexpensive reef shoes. And you can also walk around in them. And if it's raining outside on the streets, you can wear them on the streets. I buy them really inexpensively. I'm telling you, I go to Goodwill a lot, look for some of the stuff. I look online, I go to Marshall's. I also buy at local beachwear shops. That's another thing. Sunscreen. Always have sunscreen. When I travel, I have sunscreen, a lightweight moisturizer, a night moisturizer, my cellar water, which can clean and refresh. I love it. I use Garnier, really inexpensive. I always have a spritz. This is the spritz I use. I carry them on the plane. I spritz to stay hydrated. I always carry insect repellent. I get bit everywhere I go. This one is by Sawyer Picaridin. The New York Times recommended it. I put these in small spritz bottles. This is the Mario Badescu spritz bottles. I buy a lot of Mario Badescu. I get these as gifts. And I put the spritz in there, and I carry insect repellent anywhere I go, because everywhere I go, I attract bugs. I also carry hydrocortisone cream for itching and rashes. Any kind of rash, I'll get it. I carry an antiseptic ointment and bandages. And usually Tylenol or something like that. But sunscreen and a hat. I usually travel with a big white hat, a smaller hat, a baseball hat. I'm a hat person. So I travel with a lot of hats. I don't wear a lot of makeup. I wear a waterproof makeup, because if you get stuck in the rain, you don't want to be like dripping. I carry a little bit of blush, a good base. I had a woman on the show named Dr. Doris Dalton of Doll 10, Doll 10 Cosmetics and Skincare. She created a line. She was a guest on the show, Fearless Fabulous You. She created a line for women that were dealing with problems after chemotherapy, which I had and she had. I developed rosacea, so did she. I swear by her line. I've become a customer ever since. Her foundation Stays on, looks good, and covers everything. I also use her makeup and her lipstick. I'm a big fan of Doll 10, and I'm not paid to say that, but I carry that. I carry a small makeup bag in my carry-on. I carry a separate one in my luggage, and then a separate bag for my toiletries and whatnot. I always carry an unscented soap because scent irritates my skin. So I always buy unscented soap. And as soon as I get to a drugstore or a supermarket, wherever I'm going, particularly in Europe, I buy this little thing of Nivea because this Nivea is the best body cream ever. It's like 3 or 4 euros, like nothing. And it's packable. And it has the formulas sometimes in Europe are better than the formulas that come to the United States. A good example is this Nivea. So I'll probably go into the local supermarket and buy, or drugstore and buy Nivea. I also buy sometimes toothpaste overseas. I like to try toothpaste and hand creams. Not a lot, but I like to try local things. And those are fun gifts as well. Carry your medication, label your medication, and carry it on board. I've already got all my pills labeled and on board, and you want to have them there. I also carry hand sanitizer, flushable wet wipes or flushable wet tissues. I get the ones for babies. Why? Because I feel like I stink after the plane. I want to clean my women parts. I want to clean under my arms. I want to clean everywhere. I also want to clean my cell phone cover, which feels sweaty after a day of sightseeing. I love, David bought like a lifetime supply, I think, on Amazon of some kind of like wet, wipeable, flushable tissue. Wipeable and flushable, because you don't want to clog trains. But I carry those in my handbag. I carry them with hand sanitizer. I carry them in my carry-on. They're great because you never know when you're not going to have appropriate toilet tissue or tissue. And I like to be clean and sanitized. I always have hand sanitizer. So at the end of every day, when I come back from traveling and day sightseeing, I clean everything. I also clean the tops of my airline trays. I clean phones. I clean everything with sanitizer. I'm kind of neurotic about that. But these are essentials. As far as clothes, I usually just bring some dresses. I'm a dress girl. I wear Spanx. I wear Spanx because I had reconstruction surgery and I kind of need to, but I also wear them because I like to wear compression garments on the airplane, socks, and around my body to avoid any risk of blood clots. I wash them out. I've been testing different Spanx. I like lots of ones. I had to buy them, like I said, for my breast reconstruction, but now I'm kind of enjoying them. It's been helping my back and keeping me tucked in. And you can get many lightweight ones for the summer. So that's what I pack. Other than that, some T-shirts and workout clothes. If there's a gym, I always pack at least 1 or 2 bathing suits. I have 2 tops, 1 bottom, and a sarong. That's how I do it. Reef shoes versus flip-flops works for taking showers if you have to wash your feet off or anything like that. Those are great. I also travel with a Safeguard shirt that I can wear anywhere because I'm very susceptible and I have pre-skin cancer. So I bought one in Hawaii for nothing. And sometimes you can buy this locally for less money, but have stuff to protect yourself against bugs, illnesses, and the sun wherever you go. Let's see. I think I've covered a lot of it. At the end of the day, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. It really isn't. You don't need a lot of handbags. You don't need a lot of shoes. You need comfortable shoes. You need enough clothing to change and sweat and hopefully wash out. It's great if you get clothes that you can wash and hang up. But sometimes you're traveling so many areas, you don't have time to do that because you're leaving day after day after day. So you need to have enough clothes that you can not stink. What I also do is I carry a few small samples of perfume. So I sometimes spray my clothes to air them out. I try to air them out. After that, one last thing. I actually bought a little baby pillow, a down baby pillow on Amazon because I am really sensitive to hard pillows. And so I bought one. I'm going to test it out and see if that'll help me with my neck and keeping my head. I won't have headaches. So if you're really sensitive, maybe invest in a baby pillow. Or a travel pillow is not a baby pillow. Baby pillow's down. A travel pillow is that thing you wear around your neck like a donut. I don't like those. I could go on forever, but I hope some of these are tips. We're out of town, so I guess I need to close the show down. But here's the thing. Travel smart, travel safe, and travel with pleasure. And just travel. Because one day you may not be able to. So take the trip. And travel with no worries. manage your expectations, and enjoy the ride. I'm Melanie Young. This is Fearless, Fabulous You. I'm about to go on a big journey to Greece. Very excited. And I hope wherever your journey takes you, it takes you with great pleasure. You always have the choice in life on how you live. Always choose fearless and fabulous, and always choose life on your terms. Thank you.